that cheat day didn't go well then.
I think day 7, chucked in the bin. When you do social ads, yeah, you realise you can't draw and it looks like a penis, so you might as well draw one. It's alright, it's only about 5 days late. Well done, DPD, whoever delivers to Renfrew. See what we've got. I've got all this tilapia. I'm not even going to do this epoxy dieting for much longer, I don't think. Oh. They ain't even put my fucking fish in, have they? Where's my tilapia? What the fuck, mate? They're taking a piss, aren't they? Zipper bag's already opened. I'm dying, man! And then chicken and ice. So no actual tilapia. They're absolutely fucking taking a piss, aren't they? I'm gonna get on that phone. I can't even ring them up. Bulk powders don't even have a phone number. I mean, bulk powders do, very good bulk powders. They sorted Tom right out and it was his mistake and they gave him £5 back. Muscle Foods, you can't get their phone number. Take my glasses off, show my ain't messy. Can you see me over my nose? So big. Okay. I've got a biggie. Biggie, do what? What is clean eating? Well, that could be quite good, isn't it? To record that. You can type it on yours though. Because I ain't got no recording on this. We rolling? So take a seat, Tom. Take a seat. Take a seat, young chap. Sorry if you can't see me. My laptop is broke. The 5 weren't working. 5 times out of 10 it wouldn't work. Sorry. Anyway, the vlog has been going for 2 episodes now. I've done 7 days of clean eating. So now I want to get into what actually is clean eating. And there's no one definitive definition because it is a load of nonsense. However, when you type in what is clean eating, this is what comes up on the Google. Clean eating is a deceptively, I love how they put that word in there, simple concept. At its simplest, clean eating is about eating whole foods or real foods, they are there. Those that are or minimally processed, refined and handled, making them as close to their natural form as possible. So that is the definition of clean eating. So when we look at the research when it comes to clean eating on a fat loss sustainability perspective, again, in another video, I'm actually going to go through the research and compare clean eating against your dirty or flexible eating and see what actually the research shows when it comes to actual health. That's another video. But for this video, we're looking at weight loss and sustainability. So the research shows, and you're going to see screenshots on the screen flying up now, shows that a rigid approach, so whenever you look at the scientific literature, rigid is clean eating and flexible is if it fits your macros crowd, if you want to fit into a crowd. And the research shows, and it's quite convincing, that those which follow a rigid approach actually don't lose as much weight, have lower sustainability of losing that weight, and will put that weight on after the dieting period is over. There's also quite strong evidence to suggest that those who have a clean eating approach are more likely to form bad relationships with foods. Just by labelling foods as clean already demonstrates to me that you probably don't have the best relationship with food. And those showed with a rigid clean eating approach actually had more chance of creating bad habits and actual eating disorders. So clean eaters, maybe clean is not the way to go. Maybe being a little bit mischievous and a little bit dirty is the way to go from a losing weight perspective for sustainability, and to make sure you're not thinking about food all of the time and developing bad relationships with foods. So 7 days into my clean eating, and to be honest, yesterday I come in, Tom will tell you, I was close to quitting. I was like, what is the point? And I think it's harder for me, and look, people say, oh, everyone knows clean eating is a load of nonsense. But if that was the case, you wouldn't have the majority. What we forget is we're in this little bubble. You follow the Shredded by Science YouTube channel, so that means you're probably more educated than most when it comes to training and nutrition. So when it comes to the general population, what do they see? They see magazines of this diet, this celeb doing this, these foods being quoted as superfoods or clean foods, and these are dirty foods. So unfortunately, that is the case. And this is the whole point of doing this vlogging, me sacrificing to win, because I was a clean eater once. I didn't really label things as clean, and I had more flexibility. But it wasn't that long ago, probably 6-7 years ago, when I actually did really think that carbs for breakfast would put me in a coma. And I did really think that the only times I could have carbs are between a certain period of time. I wasn't as rigid as I am now. And what I found with this clean eating over 7 days is, it's just unnecessary. And by me not having carbs for breakfast, it would be a lot easier if I could eat foods when I wanted to eat them and just having a select few clean foods. The hardest thing for me was the no carbs after 6, because I'm literally forcing myself to eat food earlier on in the evening just to get carbs in, because I can't have it after 6. And I know that it's nonsense. So it's harder for me to do it for someone who is educated and knows that clean eating is nonsensical, because I know that. But unfortunately, people do truly believe this, and they feel that eating carbs after 6 is the devil, and they will put on fat. So the foods itself is not overly hard. The no carbs for breakfast isn't too hard. The no carbs after 6 I've found the hardest part so far. And I did actually have to, even just after a week, I needed a cheat day for it to be sustainable for a short period of time. I got into this to say, right, I'm just gonna eat 10 foods over 8 weeks, and I'm not gonna have any cheat days. But it is gonna be extremely hard, and even someone who's prepped for 9 months and went through that process, it's extremely hard to not have that day where you have a cheat day. And it's bad that just by a week, I'm actually even calling it a cheat day. But when you use the term clean eating, you end up by default going down that route of saying cheat day. So I'm gonna keep with it. I'm gonna see how I go. I'm gonna still keep with the stupid rules of no carbs after 6. But yeah, that's my thoughts of the first 7 days. And maybe in the next video, I'll do some pros and cons of what I've actually enjoyed with clean eating. You all right, Tom? Good, that, isn't it? Let's go.
I'd like to take this chance to apologise to absolutely fucking nobody. So, it's too early. In the morning, you know, you wake up and your voice is even heavier. And with this camera, my voice sounds really deep. So now I have to talk like this, and it might sound normal. You may have guessed that on the vlog. Right, wait, so working from home today. So I'm not shredded to give nutrition advice. Oh damn, we are a ball of water retention. 90.5 again. My weight is not bloody dropping. All this water retention, all this stress of eating, or sodium. Let's have another go. 89.4. Remember, sometimes when you lift the scales up before, it messes up a little bit. 89.4. This is why we do a best of 3. Sometimes even a best of 4 when it messes up the first time. If the third reading is not the same as the second reading, but it is the same. So we'll keep it at 2 readings. So weight is down. I think it's probably heavier than it was last week at this time. Apologies. You do not want to be seeing a big wide open mouth first thing in the morning. Now it's time to do dad duties, get Len ready, get his breakfast ready. He's having bagel, so he's allowed carbs before breakfast. The devil in him. And then yeah, bits and pieces.